Okay, I'm going to get started by just welcoming everyone. Welcome to Wat Tung. Nice to see everyone here. Welcome to everyone online who's joining as well. This is our Sunday evening meditation where we come together each Sunday evening for meditation. We have other classes, courses, and retreats here as well that we do all throughout the week and all throughout the month where you can learn meditation and all the teachings of the Buddha to be able to make your way to enlightenment. But each Sunday we come together here in the main hall for a meditation, kind of helping people to be able to have a place to come and enjoy. And then it connects up with the walking market as well. So welcome to all of you guys. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing loving kindness meditation. Loving kindness meditation is a meditation to transform the mind away from anger, hatred, and ill will, and all the lesser versions like frustration, agitation, annoyance, even the slightest dislike. By the time you fully train your mind and transform your mind, you won't even have the slightest dislike for other people. Oftentimes when the mind lacks wisdom in the unenlightened state, we might like someone, but then we have dislike towards them. And we think that the dislike is coming from the other person, but it's actually coming from your own mind. Your own mind has certain expectations where you want this person to be a certain way. And not everybody's going to be that way. That would be permanence. But you live in an impermanent world where things are constantly changing, and not everybody's going to be the same way, because we don't live in a permanent world where everybody's the same way. But that's what the unenlightened mind wants, is it craves permanence. And if somebody meets your expectations, you might like them. But if they don't meet your expectations and do what you want them to do, you'll have dislike towards them. So by the time you transform your mind with loving kindness meditation and all the other teachings that the Buddha shares, you won't even have the slightest dislike towards another person. So the way this meditation works is we're going to start with some chanting to ease us into the meditation. And then after that, I'm going to come in with some guidance for breathing mindfulness meditation, which is going to help you to start focusing on the breath. And whenever the mind moves off the breath, you cut that off and let it go and bring the mind back to the breath. Then we're going to just do that for a brief period of time. Then I'm going to come in with some guidance for loving kindness meditation. You're going to hear me saying these affirmations out loud. Things like, may I be peaceful. And when you hear that, you just repeat it inside your mind on the out breath. And then you might hear me say, may I be safe. And you just repeat that inside your mind on the out breath. May I be well, and then may I be free of all discontentedness and the suffering it causes. And you're repeating each one of these on the out breath. Then we're going to go through some rings where eventually we're going to get to all beings, but we're going to go through rings like may mom and dad be peaceful, safe, well, and free of discontentedness. When we're doing this, we're not wishing that mom and dad would change. We're not trying to invoke some kind of special power to change mom and dad. You can't actually change other people through your meditation. What you're doing is you're working on your mind to be more loving and kind, so that when you're around mom and dad, your intentions, speech, and actions can emanate from that loving kindness. Because when you're bitter and harsh and hostile, whether it's with your parents or your siblings or coworkers, neighbors, or any of these types of people, it's just coming from your own mind. And now when you put out that bitterness and hostility, it just comes back to you. So you're working on rewiring your mind or filling up your gas tank with loving kindness, this genuine interest in seeing all beings be well, this active goodwill towards others, so that then when you're around people, you can be more loving and kind when you're around them. And this is what's going to transform your mind and transform your relationships. You can't meditate your way to the elimination of anger and hatred and ill will. You're going to need meditation, but then you're going to need to go out into the world and be loving and kind through your intentions, your speech, and your actions. And that's where the core central teaching of the Buddha comes in. It's called the Eightfold Path, where it'll guide you and helping you to be able to understand how to be loving and kind through your intentions, your speech, and your actions. So after that period of time of the loving kindness meditation where I'll be guiding you, then I'm going to go back to the breathing mindfulness meditation, and then we're going to come out of that with some more chanting. And then I'll open up to all questions that you guys might have related to the teachings of the Buddha or the path to enlightenment. When we start our meditation and we end it, we're going to be doing some chanting. And we have chanting sheets here in the middle of the floor, and there might be some over there on the bench as well, or the platform. If you'd like to get a chanting sheet, you're more than welcome to, because we're going to be chanting these to ease the mind into the meditation, and it'll help you to get more benefit out of the meditation itself. During the lifetime of the Buddha, he used chanting as a way to help his students remember his teachings. Every 2 weeks, his students would come together and they would recite his teachings orally. This is a learning tool or a learning device that he used during his lifetime, because they didn't have books, audiobooks, videos, podcasts, and all these kinds of things during the lifetime of the Buddha, so they used chanting as a way to help commit the teachings to memory. So you can see from the origins of chanting that there's no rite, ritual, ceremony, worship, or prayer here. That's not what the Buddha taught. If you see those kinds of things associated with the teachings of the Buddha, it's not the teachings of the Buddha. He never taught any rites, rituals, ceremonies, worship, or prayer. He's teaching you to train your mind and cultivate wisdom. He's teaching you to uproot certain pollutions out of the mind. And meditation is one thing that you do that with, but there's other teachings and other training as well. So we're not doing any rites, rituals, ceremonies, worship, or prayer. We're just using this chant in order to ease the mind into meditation, where you get more awareness of the mind and more awareness of the breath as you ease into the meditation, and it'll help you to be able to accomplish that. If you read the English translations, you're going to see a lot of appreciation, gratitude, and respect for the Buddha. And because of this, I don't think the Buddha even created these chants himself. They were probably created by his students, either during his life or after his death. Because a Buddha wouldn't walk around and say, here, chant these chants to me out of respect for me. This would be arrogance or ego, putting yourself above other people and looking down on people. And someone who's gotten to enlightenment, and surely a fully, perfectly enlightened Buddha, they wouldn't have any ego in their mind. They would just consider themselves to be equal among all people. So the Buddha wouldn't have created these chants and had his students chanting things to him out of respect for him. But if you learn from a teacher how to move from anger, sadness, frustration, irritation, annoyance, guilt, shame, fear, stress, anxiety, loneliness, boredom, shyness, resentment, jealousy, all these discontent feelings, if they helped you to learn how to eliminate those and get to the point where your mind is completely peaceful and joyful, and this teacher didn't want anything or expect anything from you, you'd probably have a lot of appreciation, gratitude, and respect for that person too. So that's why I suspect that these chants actually came from his students rather than him himself. So we're going to chant that on the way in. And if you'd like to chant along, you're more than welcome. And we're going to chant on the way out as well. In terms of your body position for meditation, there's 4 positions that the Buddha taught: seated, lying, standing, and walking. And the seated, lying, and standing work really well with loving kindness meditation. We usually don't use the walking position for loving kindness, so you can really use whatever position you like. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to the seated position to be able to help you learn a little bit about this and maybe find something that's even more comfortable than what maybe you're sitting right now. So you can sit however you like. There's not just one fixed way to sit, because if there was, that would be permanence. But we don't live in a permanent world. We don't live in a permanent world. We live in an impermanent world. Everybody's body's different. Everybody's going to find different things to be comfortable. So you can really sit however you're comfortable. I'm going to share some suggestions and recommendations with you, but you can sit with any of these, or if you come up with your own way of sitting, because we're not training the body, we're training the mind. So just sit however you're comfortable. But here's some things for you to maybe consider to find something that's maybe even more comfortable than the way you're already sitting. You can sit on the floor. You can sit in a chair. If you're at home, you might be in a bench or a sofa or a wheelchair. If you're on the floor, you might have some cushions under your rear. We had a bunch of cushions. I think we might have run out by now, but we have some more at the classroom. If anybody needs some more cushions, you can always get some more. But you can have some cushions under your rear. This is going to help soften your seat. And if you're going to cross your legs, you might just bring those together lightly, where if you had them real tight, this could impede the circulation and cause pain in the lower body. Some people like to put their legs off the mat. This gets their hips up in the air, and it lessens the angle at the hips, the knees, and the ankles, allowing the circulation to flow. So you could sit that way as well. The Buddha put his right hand over his left with his thumbs together, and he put this into his lap. If this is comfortable for you, you could do it. But again, it's not about everyone doing exactly the same way. There's other options here as well. You could put your palms on your thighs or your knees. You could put your palms up. Some people like to rest their hands comfortably in their lap. So you can really sit however you're comfortable with your hands and arms and your legs. For anybody who's maybe in a chair, or maybe if you're at home on a bench or a sofa or a wheelchair, you can also sit however you like. Some people like to put their feet flat on the floor or lightly crossed at the ankles. But when I teach in the classroom over there, there's a chair that I sit in with my legs crossed. So that's an option for you too. And again, you can put your hands and arms wherever you like if you're sitting in a chair. And then in terms of your upper body, it's helpful if this is erect, with your sternum up and your shoulders back. It'll help keep the mind attentive and alert during the meditation. Whereas if you were slouched, the mind would have a tendency to be dull or lethargic. But if you were real rigid, your mind could be overactive or uptight. So you'd like the upper body to be in the middle with the sternum up and the shoulders back. Meditation is a dedicated, active, purposeful training session where you're eliminating certain unwholesome qualities from the mind, and you're cultivating certain wholesome qualities in the mind. So you would like the mind to be attentive and alert during this meditation. So that's why having the sternum up and shoulders back will help you to train your mind, because your mind will stay attentive and alert. It also helps it to be able to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose by having your sternum up and shoulders back. So again, I'm going to chant to ease us into meditation. You guys are welcome to join in. Then I'm going to come in with the guidance for the breathing mindfulness meditation, then for the loving kindness meditation. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Wat Tung Bhagavanhang Apivadeyami Savakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti piso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vicacaranang Sammuno Sakato Rokavitu Anutero Purisa Dhamma Sati Satatawa Manusarang Bhutto Bhagavati. Okay, with the lower body and hands and arms comfortable, and the upper body erect, just close the eyes and start breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Here you're just looking to establish the breath. A nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. Not forced or controlled, just a gradual inhale through the nose, experiencing the full breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Your breath may not match up with the guidance that I'm providing, and that's okay. This is your practice. I'm just here for guidance. You can use this voice as a reminder that whenever you get to the next inhale, breathing gradually through the nose, developing a nice, natural, steady, consistent breath. And then whenever you're ready, exhale out through the nose, experiencing the full breath. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the breath well established, start fixating the mind on the breath, either the sound of the breath coming into the nose or the sensation of air moving over the skin into the nose. The breath is the present moment. Fixate the mind on the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. With the mind fixated on the breath, whenever you notice that it moves off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. No need to observe the thought, label it, judge it, analyze it, or even try to figure out where it's coming from. Whenever you notice that the mind is moved off the breath, cut that off, let it go, and come back to the breath, the present moment. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. I'm going to be quiet now and let you do this work of focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Then I'll be back with more guidance on loving kindness meditation. You have nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. No one needs you right now. This is your time to focus on the breath. Breathing in and out. Continuing to breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. Repeat these affirmations in the mind on the out breath. May I be peaceful. May I be safe. May I be well. May I be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May mom and dad be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May my family, friends, co-workers, and neighbors all be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all those who have harmed me be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness and the suffering that it causes. May all those who I have harmed be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. May all beings, wherever they reside, be peaceful. May they be safe. May they be well. May they be free of all discontentedness in the suffering that it causes. Now return back to breathing mindfulness meditation, focusing on the breath, cutting off and letting go anytime the mind moves off the breath. Breathing in and out. Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Bhutang Bhagavanhang Apivateyami สวากขาโตมหาเขวัตตาธัมโมธัมมังนามัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนมหาเขวัตโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิติปิโสมหาเขวาอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธวิชาจารนังสัมมุโนสกขาโตโรกาวิตุอนุเตโรปุริสาดัมมาสติสัตตาตวะมนุสนังพุทโธภะคะวะติ Okay, if you guys would like to slowly make your way out of meditation. Once again, welcome to all of you guys. Nice to see everyone here this evening. Welcome to everyone online as well. This is loving kindness meditation. It's kind of like a sandwich. You got in the middle, you've got your loving kindness, and the lettuce and tomato is the breathing mindfulness meditation, and the bread holding it all together, that's the chanting, right? So that's how you kind of structure this meditation. It's going to help you to transform your mind away from the anger, hatred, the bitterness, the hostility, even the slightest dislike towards others. It's always important to remember that whenever you're doing meditation or training your mind in any of the teachings of the Buddha, it's always to change your mind. It's not to affect other people. By you changing your mind and you becoming a more and more peaceful and loving and kind and gentle person, that will change the way that you interact with other people. And now this is one of the best things you could ever do for yourself, for those close to you and all of humanity, because as long as you're being bitter and harsh and hostile, you're just putting harm out into the world, and this harm is just going to keep coming back to you. So oftentimes people think that the bitterness and hostility is coming from other people, but it's actually coming from your own mind, and that's why you can eliminate it. Whereas if it was other people who was causing these feelings and causing this bitterness and hostility, you would never be able to eliminate it. But you can actually train your mind to eliminate this, and you'll see that life is much better this way. So the Buddha's teachings, it's not a bunch of rules or commandments. It's not beliefs trying to teach you to believe certain things, hoping something good happens when you die. It's about learning and growing and developing in this life so that you can live an ideal life in this life. You can get to the peace and joy now in this life. So the Buddha is helping you to cultivate wisdom and train your mind. One of the ways you might think about the teachings of the Buddha is like a self-help program, right? Where you're doing this inner work, this inner development, this inner growth. That's essentially what you're doing on this path to enlightenment, is training your mind, growing and developing, becoming a better and better human being. There's not rules and commandments. There's not beliefs. There's nobody that's going to try to tell you what you should or shouldn't be doing. Instead, there's just going to be encouragement and support, helping you to be able to gain wisdom on this path. So as you gain wisdom about the natural laws and the way the world truly functions and the way that your mind's functioning, now you can make improved decisions. You can make wise decisions to navigate the world peacefully. And one of the things you might choose to do is develop a meditation practice with the guidance of a teacher. Oftentimes people don't have a dedicated teacher. It's really helpful to have a dedicated teacher. Just like you might have a life coach or a therapist or something like this, a Buddhist teacher is kind of like that, where the individual gets to know you and gets to know your life and then helps you through providing you resources and growth to be able to help you with classes, courses, and retreats, but also personal guidance so that you can take whatever is being taught in a class and apply it to your day-to-day life so that you can grow and develop. There's only one type of person that can actually get to enlightenment by themselves without the help of any teachers or any guides, and that's a Buddha. And the last one that the world's currently aware of existed over 2,500 years ago, and the world's not aware of any other Buddhas that have existed since that time frame. So you're going to need teachers and guides to help you along the path. And what they should be helping you to be able to do is cultivate wisdom through independent verification of the teachings. They should be sharing teachings with you that are helping you to understand the world around you, and then inviting you to be able to investigate that, examine that, to reflect on it, to independently verify it, and then to practice it so that you can cultivate wisdom. You shouldn't be a follower or a devotee or any of these kinds of things. An enlightened being isn't a follower. They're an individual who's seeking, who has sought wisdom, and now they actually are wise to the natural laws. So you're going to need to cultivate wisdom and grow and develop on this path. So it's important that you don't follow anybody, that you're not a devotee, but instead you're a wise thinker who is independently progressing on the path, with a teacher essentially being like a tour guide, pointing out for you the things that you need to learn and understand along the way, and then providing you that support without any judgment, without any conditions, without any expectations of you, just guiding you along the path based on you seeking guidance to be able to understand that path. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just see if you guys have any questions about the meditation or any of the teachings of the Buddha, anything you guys would like to talk about or ask about, whether it's about Buddhism or the temples or Thailand or any of these kinds of things, maybe even personal challenges that you might be experiencing. You can ask any and all questions that you like. We have microphones here in the middle of the room. If you just get a microphone, press the gray button, you're going to see the lights come on, and then you can hold this up to your chin, and we'll be able to hear you here at the temple, and they'll be able to hear you online as well. Whereas if you speak here without a microphone, they won't be able to hear you online. And then if you're online and you would like to ask questions, you can put that into Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, or you can raise your hand electronically in Zoom, unmute your microphone, and ask any questions that you like. And if you get one of these microphones, you can just keep it with you, because you might have more than one question, or someone around you might have a question, and you can share it with them. And if you're not using it, if you could just turn it off, that way we won't get feedback through the speakers. So do you guys have any questions here or online? Anything you guys would like to ask? Yes, sir. There's microphones right there. It just takes a moment for it to engage once the lights come on. When you press the button and hold it, the gray button, you'll see the lights come on. There you go. And now it should work.
Hello.
There you go.
Thank you very much for holding this meditation class. Mm-hmm. And I would like to ask a question. If is it more effective to burn first your material desires before to a full meditation practice? What I mean is, it's like you know, when people come into marriage, they first experience everything, their material desires, so that when they come into marriage, when they marry, they are already mature and they experience those things, and they will have no regrets of not doing those things. So they are more focused. So much like when a person is serious in meditation, so the person has to burn his or her material desires first.
Are you asking that should you eliminate your craving, desire, attachment before getting married? Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm putting marriage as an analogy.
Mm-hmm.
just like in meditation, we need to experience, our material desires first, the worldly desires. I mean, we need to experience it first, so that when we come into an experience as an experienced person, we are now ready to face spirituality.
What's your question, sir? What are you
So
asking?
my question is, what do you think about that idea?
Okay, so in order to eliminate your craving, desire, attachment, the longing, the yearning, the wants and expectations, you're going to need to know the whole path to enlightenment, the Eightfold Path. This is the core central teaching of the Buddha. You're going to need to train your mind in that consistently. It's essentially a full-time job. That it's not just during meditation, but it's also in day-to-day life too. And your meditation is helping you to be able to train your mind to let go. So that breathing mindfulness meditation we did, where we are focused on the breath and the mind moves off the breath, that's training your mind to let go, let go, let go. It's not training your mind to eliminate your thoughts, because you'll never eliminate your thoughts as long as you're alive. You need those thoughts. But what you're doing is you're cultivating the wholesome qualities of mindfulness or awareness of mind in concentration, so you can have focus and concentration. So now when your mind does move, you notice that, and now you can let it go and come back. Because what the mind's doing in the unenlightened state is it's holding on. And material possessions and material desires are one of the things that the mind is longing, yearning for, and craving for. So you're going to need this meditation to be consistent and ongoing. But there's other things too, like generosity, training your mind to give and share with the people around you. Because craving, desire, attachment, the mind will be quite selfish and hold on to things very tightly. So there's multiple practices and multiple teachings, multiple factors that you would need to learn and understand, implement them into your life, where you're using meditation, yes, but in your day-to-day life, you're using those qualities that you cultivated in your meditation to now be able to train your mind. So that mindfulness and concentration, or that awareness of mind and that focus that you develop in meditation, like training your mind in the gym, you now use that in your day-to-day life, that as you're going through your day-to-day life and you notice the anger starting to arise, or you notice the frustration or the jealousy or the guilt or the shame or the stress or anxiety or any of these other discontent feelings arising, you'll notice that with your mindfulness, then you cut it off and let it go. You cut it off and let it go, right? So this meditation of breathing mindfulness meditation is almost creating like an internal mechanism in your mind that you can cut off and let go. Because the unenlightened mind doesn't know how to do that. That's why the mind holds on, and then it gets angry about whatever it's holding on to. But if you can train your mind in meditation, and then with all the other factors that the Buddha teaches as part of the Eightfold Path, now you'll be able to train your mind to let go, not just in meditation, but all day long. And eventually you'll get to the point where your mind's completely peaceful and joyful. So there's two ways to eliminate a craving, desire, attachment. There's cutting it off and letting it go. There's that way. But then there's also fulfilling it too. So let's just say I always wanted to go to the Philippines, and I've never been to the Philippines, right? I just always wanted to go there. I was longing, yearning to go to the Philippines. Well, I could cut that off and let it go, realizing, hey, I don't have the money, I can't go, it's not possible, and I can train my mind to let that go, right? Or I could just go to the Philippines, check it out, look around, see it. Okay, been there, done that, right? Now the mind has let go of that craving. But you need to be observant of the mind, because now it might want to go to Hong Kong and Beijing and, Melbourne and all these other different places. It's just wanting more and more and more and more and more and more. And it's not that an enlightened being wouldn't travel or they wouldn't go to these things. It's that when your mind's longing, yearning, informing your inner feelings on whether you get that thing or not. So there's certain cravings, desires, attachments that you can fulfill in order to be able to then extinguish it. So if somebody always wanted to have a wife or a husband, or they always wanted to have children, if they got to the end of their life and they never had a husband or wife, or they never had children, and their mind was longing, yearning for it, then there's still craving, desire, attachment in the mind, and it's not enlightened yet. So one of the ways to eliminate a craving, desire, attachment is to actually fulfill it. So someone could choose to get married or have a husband or have children, and now that helps them to extinguish that craving. And now their mind can be more peaceful and joyful, because it's like, all right, I've already got this. I don't have a longing, yearning for it any longer. So there's these two approaches to being able to eliminate your craving, desire, attachment: cutting it off and letting it go, and then fulfilling it. And if you're going to cut something off and let it go, oftentimes what you need to do is distance yourself from it. right? So let's just say I was attached to chocolate cake, and every time I go to this restaurant, boy, I really like that chocolate cake, and I get so happy and excited every time they have chocolate cake. But when I come there and they don't have chocolate cake, I'm angry and I'm frustrated. That's my mind craving permanence and wanting this chocolate cake to be permanent, when in reality the chocolate cake is not permanent. So now when you notice that about your mind, that you're having this craving, desire, attachment for the chocolate cake, you would like to distance yourself from it. Right? Now you distance yourself from it, you go maybe 2 months, 3 months, 4 months without eating that chocolate cake, and eventually your mind has let go. And now you can go to that restaurant, and if they have chocolate cake, great, I'll order it, and I'll eat it, and wow, I can enjoy it, it tastes really great. But if I go to this restaurant and they don't have the chocolate cake, you can maintain your contentedness, you can maintain your joy, because your mind is now let go. So this is about how to cut it off and let it go. You'd like to distance yourself from it and train your mind to let it go. Or some certain cravings, you can actually fulfill it. But you need to be careful with that one, because you're interested to make sure you're not causing harm, right? If someone said I had a craving to snort cocaine, I wouldn't say, oh, you should fulfill that, right? It's like, no, you need to stay away from that, because that's going to cause harm to this being. Or if you had a craving to steal or murder somebody, right? That's going to cause harm. So you're not interested in fulfilling those kind of cravings. But going to the Philippines or something like this, you can fulfill those kind of cravings, because there's not any harm that's being caused there. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. Can I have another one?
Sure, you can ask whatever you like.
I actually did daily meditation for almost a year, and I stopped because I felt lighter and happier when I did that daily meditation. But I was afraid that I will do some big decisions, like leave my job and then be spiritual. So it's like my plan is to be more spiritual when I'm older. So what are your thoughts about that?
I would recommend that you train your mind early in life. The earlier, the better. And there's really no bad time to train your mind, even if you're later in life. That's still a wonderful time to train your mind. But the earlier you do it, the better. Because your mind, when you're younger, is less polluted. And as you get older, you're going to accumulate more and more conditioning of your mind, more pollutions, and it's going to be more challenging. Also, being older, your mind isn't necessarily always as crisp. And because if you haven't trained your mind and there's a lot of pollution in your mind, it's not going to perform very well. So even the Buddha suggested people to train early in life. My son, he started formally training when he was 6 years old, right? And now he's 13 years old. He hardly ever gets angry, or actually he doesn't get angry at all. He just gets a little bit annoyed, like once every 2 or 3 months. That's it. I mean, it would have been nice for me to live my life that way. I didn't live that way. It wasn't until I was 44 that I really got into these teachings really deeply. But if you do it early like that, he was able to transform his mind because he didn't have much pollution. So if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, there's never a bad time to start training your mind. But the earlier you do it, the better, because you don't have as much accumulated pollution at that point in your life.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome. You have a question?
Is it? Oh. Mm-hmm. So I have a conflict in myself about enlightenment. As we know, craving for permanence creates suffering. But isn't like trying to get to that enlightenment state, isn't it a craving in itself? Okay. So I have this conflict that I see. Trying to reach enlightenment is the same as trying to reach that candy that causes suffering to you. Okay. So how should you view this type of conflict to you?
Sure. So it's not the object itself that is the craving, desire, attachment. So the fact that somebody's interested in getting to enlightenment or progressing towards enlightenment isn't what makes it a craving, desire, attachment. It's the way that the mind longs and yearns for it. Maybe you guys could turn off your mics. We're getting a little bit of feedback. So let me give you an example so you can understand that it's not the object itself. Let's just say I had a liter of water and I was on my way to the hiking trail, and I'm in my car, and I get out of my car and I go on this hiking trail, and I forgot my liter of water in the car, and I'm 30 minutes down the trail, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I forgot my water, and now I hurry up and go back to the car, running back to the car. I twist my ankle on the way, I sling open the door and get the water. Water, oh, thank you so much, my water. But now I can't go on my hike because I sprained my ankle, right? Well, there could be a second person out on the trail that's like, I forgot my water. I should go back and get that. I'm going to be out here for 6 or 8 hours. Let me go get my water. And now they calmly make their way back to their car and they get their water, right? So it's not the fact that there's water that makes it a craving, desire, attachment. It's how the mind is processing this and how the mind is pursuing this particular thing. So the fact that somebody's interested to get to enlightenment, you can actually pursue it as a goal, as an objective or an interest. You're not longing, yearning. You're not chasing it. That's what the craving, desire, attachment is, the longing, yearning. And if you're not doing that, what the unenlightened mind will often do is it swings to the other side, where it's dull and lethargic, it's complacent, it's lazy. And the unenlightened mind can see those two sides very well. Chase, or swing over here and be dull and lethargic and unmotivated without ambition and enthusiasm. But neither of those two is going to actually get you to enlightenment, and that's not what the Buddha is teaching you. He's teaching you to come to the middle, where you gradually pursue things as a goal, as an objective, or as an interest. And you need to be careful with this word goal, because oftentimes craving, desire, attachment is masquerading as a goal. If somebody says, well, if I get my goal, I'm happy, and if I don't get my goal, I'm sad or frustrated, that's actually not a goal. That's a craving, desire, attachment. The mind's longing, yearning for this thing. A true goal is something that you can work towards and make wise decisions towards it. And if you accomplish it, great. And if you don't accomplish it, you're fine with that too. But you have ambition and enthusiasm and motivation working towards this goal. And if you're 80% of your way there, you can look at the goal and you can say, 80% of the way there. Well, I could extend my timeline, give myself more time to get this. I could add more resources to allow me to get this goal. Or you know what, 80% is just fine. I don't even need to go any further. I don't suggest that with enlightenment, but with a certain other goal, you could potentially do that, right? So you can pursue enlightenment as a goal, objective, or interest, gradually working towards it through wise decision-making without longing, yearning, or without chasing it. And one of the ways you can help your mind get to this point, because oftentimes when people first start hearing about how peaceful and joyful the enlightened mental state is and how you create all these discontent feelings and the mind is focused and concentrated, clear, with deep memory, all your personal, professional relationships will be blossoming and at ease. You won't even experience a bad mood anymore by the time you get to enlightenment. Sometimes when people hear that, they do crave it. They do want to chase after it, right? Or they'll swing all the way over here where they're complacent. One of the ways to bring your mind to the middle on this topic is, instead of thinking about it as I need to attain enlightenment, think about it as your mind's already enlightened, but you have these pollutions in the way that you need to get rid of in order for you to be able to experience those qualities of enlightenment. Because if you don't have something, you will tend to chase after it. Your mind will tend to want it and chase after it. But if you think about it that you've already got something, then there's nothing to chase. It's already there. All I need to do is get these pollutions out of the way. And this is more of what you'll actually experience as you're getting closer and closer to enlightenment, because it's not like one day you're unenlightened and the next day, well, wham, you're enlightened. It's not instantaneous. It's gradual training, gradual practice, and gradual progress. So as you're gradually making your way to enlightenment, you'll see the qualities of enlightenment shining through more and more. It's kind of like the sun is there, the clouds are just in front of it, blocking it. But when you get the clouds out of the way, the rays of the sun start shining through more and more, and you start experiencing the rays of the sun. And eventually, when you get all the clouds out of the way, wow, there's the sun. The unique thing with enlightenment is once you get the clouds out of the way, they will never come back. Your mind is permanently peaceful and joyful. So if you think about it as your mind is already enlightened, and you just got to get these pollutions out of the way, and now let's just make some wise decisions to learn and grow and develop along this path, then you can bring your mind to the middle, pursue it as a goal, objective, or interest, and not chase after it. Any other questions? Yep.
Okay. So this is a technical question. I struggle to concentrate on my breath. So in the beginning, when you start meditation, is it helpful to have like a kind of anchor to focus on, like a mantra, or maybe counting the breaths, or maybe like looking at a fixed point or something to help narrow a little bit more of the attention so that you're not wandering as much?
Yeah, I don't suggest these things, because once you start doing those things, the mind will tend to hold on to it and not be willing to let it go. So the counting, the focusing on a mantra, focusing on these kinds of things, it doesn't allow the mind to actually let go. Your mind is still holding on. Whatever thought you would have had, your mind's just replacing it with the counting. So you're not actually moving in the right direction towards letting go. Or if your mind's focused on the mantra, you're not actually moving towards letting go because it's still holding on. Instead, what I would recommend if you're having difficulties focusing on the breath is work to focus on the breath, breathing in and out, focusing on the sound or the sensation. And then if you notice that your mind is wandering a whole lot, you can say in your mind a few times, let it go, let it go, let it go. And then bring your mind back and now get rid of that. And now just try to sit there on the breath. It's important to keep in mind that you'll never get to a point where your mind doesn't move off the breath. Even when you're enlightened, your mind will still have thoughts. So the goal isn't to eliminate your thoughts. The goal is to notice it sooner and sooner and let them go easier and easier. The difference is in the unenlightened state, you'll have a bombardment of thoughts where you'll have lots of thoughts, lots of rapid thoughts. Or you'll have a thought, you'll indulge in it, you'll play with it, you'll look at it, and then 2 or 3 minutes down the road, you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm meditating, let me bring my mind back to the breath. So this is what you experience in the unenlightened state. But when you start getting more discipline and more control over your mind, you're going to notice you have a thought, but you notice it right away and you cut it off and let it go right away. And then there's this long period of quietness and stillness in the mind, like 30 seconds to a minute, right? And then you'll have another thought, right? And this is what an enlightened being will experience. So while you're training your mind and you would like to get it more disciplined to be able to focus on the breath, just be aware that it will move off from time to time, even when you're enlightened. And that's not necessarily a huge problem. Instead, you would just like to be sure that you notice that it has moved and then be able to more easily cut it off and let it go and bring it back. But if you're having trouble to bring it back, that's where you can, in your mind, just for a few times, just let it go, let it go, let it go. And just focus on the breath and like almost exaggerate the breath so you can hear it a lot more. It gives you a lot louder sound. So if you exaggerate the breath, that'll give you something stronger to focus on. So I would just recommend those kinds of things because those are going to help you more, because you ultimately would like to get the mind to let go. In the counting and the mantras, here in Thailand, some people do put to. The Buddha never taught any of these kinds of things, and it's actually going to not allow your mind to let go, which is what you're ultimately trying to get it to do. And then just keep in mind that you're always going to have some type of thoughts in meditation, even when your mind's enlightened. Any other question? Yeah, sure. Help yourself. I think the mic that she has is working a bit better. This one seems to not be working so well.
Hi, it's just more a personal question to you. This is my first time in Thailand, and I would just like to hear more about your path to enlightenment. And, you know, like how long have you lived here and how did you start this?
Sure. So I came to Thailand the first time in 2002. But prior to that, I was spending a lot of time with Asian people ever since I was 17 years old. I had friends from the Philippines, from Korea, from Myanmar, from Indonesia, Vietnam, all these different places. I was always spending a lot of time with Asian people. But at the age of 28 in 2002, I came to Thailand for the first time. And I was coming with a Thai person. And people always told me, like my Vietnamese friends and people like that, they were like, you're going to really like Thailand someday if you go to Thailand. I thought thought they were mispronouncing Taiwan. I didn't even know that Thailand existed. I was like, you mean Taiwan? They're like, no, Thailand. I was like, what is Thailand? Right? So then I eventually met someone from Thailand, and we decided to come here in 2002. And when we came here, I was blown away with the difference between where I grew up and what existed here. I was always taught that it was material possessions that lead to happiness and joy. But I was in remote villages in Thailand where they hadn't seen a white person for 20 years. Some of those children had never seen a white person before. It was like I was Brad Pitt in this village where they were running their hands through my hair and touching my skin, and the little girls were looking through bushes with a flashlight and shining it on me, and the streets were all dirt streets and people were living in wooden shacks, but they were so happy and so joyful, and I didn't understand it. It was like my mind had exploded. I was like, what is going on here? And I didn't understand it. So I decided during that trip that I had found Thai massage, and it was the first time I had Thai massage. So I brought it back to the USA, and I started to open Thai massage centers and a Thai massage school, and I was teaching some Buddhism and things like this. But by the time of 2005, I decided that I was going to live in Thailand full time, and that was where I was ultimately interested in living. But I was married at the time, and I was married to a Thai woman, and she wasn't interested in living here. So ultimately, for many reasons, we decided to separate and divorce. But then I found my current wife, who we've been together for about 18 years or so. And on our second date, I asked her, like, what are you planning to do? Are you planning to be in America for the rest of your life or what? And she was like, no, like 10 years max, and I'm going back to Thailand. And I was like, perfect, this will work out. So ultimately, we ended up, we met in 2007. We came back here together in 2009. It was the first time I'd been to Chiang Mai. Then I was coming here very frequently because I had my own business, so I could come here for like a month at a time and go back, come here for 2 or 3 weeks and go back. I was here about 3 months out of the year for multiple years. My businesses back in America were very much dedicated to Thai things. So we were teaching Thai massage, doing Thai massage, teaching Thai culture, teaching Buddhism. Half of my staff was Thai. So I was living a very Thai life, even from America, but I was coming here frequently. So ultimately, we bought our house in 2014. We moved here in 2015, and I've been here since then. I travel still for teaching. The students will ask me to come to different places, and I will go travel. I've been to Mexico, I've been to the USA, I've been to Egypt, different places like this. So as students ask me to travel, I would travel and then go teach them in those places and have courses and retreats in those places. But primarily I'm based here. And the way that I came to this temple is I used to teach at some other temples around, just kind of floating around from here to there. My wife used to have a yoga studio here in the city, so I used to even teach there for a little bit. But some people here at this temple found out about me teaching, and they invited me to come here. And I used to actually just sit in that corner where you are, and as tourists would come in and out, I would just talk to them. They would come over and they would talk for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, what have you. And then slowly but surely I started teaching, and I was teaching here in this building, and we had these massive classes. There was like 50 to 100 people here, and it became too many people, and the Thai people couldn't get in to be able to come in and use their temple. So they asked me to move to the building over there, and I moved over there, and the first day we outgrew that building. So they asked us they asked me if I would like to move over to this classroom over here. There's a classroom over there, and it was all run down and dilapidated and not really well kept. And I said, oh, this is perfect. So I started teaching over there, and then it's been 3.5 years now that I've been teaching in there. And the students last year, they fixed it up. They remodeled the entire place. We installed air conditioning, redid the wood floor, put in nice wallpaper, curtains, redid the bathrooms, new tile. It's really nice over there. But I was always interested in teaching here because I think it's unfortunate that you walk around in Thailand and all these temples are empty. I think that's unfortunate. I think that it would be helpful if people were teaching and sharing the teachings, letting people to be able to learn and grow and develop. So my interest is to see the teachings of the Buddha come back into the world in a way that they can really shine and people can experience his teachings, because his teachings lead exactly where he said they do, to this peaceful and joyful mental state. But people don't even know that's possible. Sometimes we think that anger and sadness and frustration and all these feelings is just normal, and we just kind of accept it, and we just think like, oh, okay, I'm human, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. We blame other people for the difficulties that we experience. But when you learn these teachings and you start living these teachings, you can see that they work. And I'm interested in seeing more and more people experience that. It's kind of like if you discovered the cure to cancer, you'd probably like to get it in everybody's hands, right? So I feel like I've rediscovered the teachings of the Buddha, and I'm interested in seeing as many people as possible understand that. So that's why I do all the things that I do, to be able to help people learn the teachings. And now we've started teaching here in the main hall again about 6 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. I haven't kept track, but about 4 to 6 weeks ago, we started teaching here again in the main hall, syncing it up with the walking market. But I still teach classes over there. That's primarily where I teach. I just teach here at 6:30. But the way that all this stuff works is the Thai people invite you to do it. Like, I didn't walk into this temple and be like, hey, I'm going to teach in your temple, move aside, right? They invited me to come here. And I taught over there in the corner for several years before they even invited me to, go teach in the classroom. And even here, they invited me to come teach here because they were interested in seeing more options available. So that's the way that you do things in Thailand, is you wait to be invited rather than push your way in and kind of force your way into things. So that this way that the Thai people live, it works. The Buddhist teachings work, and the more people that learn about those, the better. Mm-hmm. All right. Any other questions you guys have? No questions? Oh, you have a question? Yeah. Can we get a mic up front? I think that mic's still on. Might need to turn it off so we don't get feedback. Once you press the button and the lights come on, it just takes like a second or two. There you go. You got it.
Hello? Okay. I am kind of at like a crossroads making decisions in life right now. And I was wondering if you had any tips or ways that I could use meditation as a tool to find more clarity in decision making and whatnot.
Yeah, you would like to build up your meditation practice to 2 or 3 sessions per day for 30 minutes. That's the ultimate goal. Understanding it takes 6 months, a year, even 2 years to build up to that. So you would like to start with breathing mindfulness meditation, develop that consistently for 2 or 3 sessions per day, building up to 30 minutes. But even if you don't get to 30 minutes, frequency is more important than the amount. So if it's a matter of 1 meditation for 30 minutes or 2 for 15, the 2 for 15 is going to be more impactful for your mind, so go with that. And after you do that for about 4 weeks or so, then bring in the loving kindness meditation. In the loving kindness meditation, doing that in the morning is ideal, because then you go out in your day with the loving kindness, and now you can interact with people in a more loving and kind way. But it's important to understand that in order to really experience true transformation, it's not going to be just meditation. Even though you can't do this, let's just say you meditated for 23 hours a day and you went out in the world and you were bitter and harsh and hostile for an hour a day, the person isn't anywhere close to enlightenment, So there's other factors besides meditation. Your meditation is helping you to exercise the mind and build qualities that you then use in your day-to-day life to be able to transform your mind. So you need to know the meditations, you need to build that up and train your mind, but you need to know the rest of the path so that all the rest of your time in your day, you can be training your mind there as well and implementing the teachings of the Buddha. Sometimes people think the Buddha meditated under a tree and then he got to enlightenment instantly or whatever amount of time. It's not actually true. It took him 6 years to get to enlightenment, and it was gradual training, gradual practice, and gradual progress. You can see it in his own words. He talks about it. So if you understand that your practice to get to enlightenment is going to be needs to be all-encompassing, it's a complete package, while meditation is part of it, and you need to work on that, there's all these other parts that you'd like to work on too. And that's where you would like to learn the entire path. And I teach this in all the various courses and retreats that I share. It's on online because I teach it. When I teach, I record. So it's in YouTube, it's on our podcast, it's in our books, on our audiobooks, and it's all available at no cost for you. So yeah, work on your meditation practice, but work on all these other things too, because that's going to help you in your day-to-day decision making, which is going to produce the wholesome results in your life. Okay, I don't see any questions. Let me just check here online. I don't see any questions online either. So what I'm going to do then is just end class by thanking all of you guys for joining. Thank you for your interest to learn and grow and develop. If you guys would like to learn more, there's plenty of opportunities for you to do that. In fact, at 9 p.m. tonight, I'm going to be teaching over in the classroom. We're going to do breathing mindfulness meditation together, and then I'm going to do a talk on true love, love without attachment. Oftentimes in the unenlightened state, the mind doesn't understand true love. You're out there, if you're falling in love with people and you're falling out of love with people, you're not actually practicing true love, and this is the reason why you're having difficulties in your relationships. You might have broken relationship after broken relationship after broken relationship, and until you understand what true love is and you actually practice it, you'll continue to have difficulties in your relationships. So I'm going to just do meditation with you guys, and then I'm going to do a talk where I'm going to help you to understand what is true love, and then of course opening up for questions as we go. And over there we have air conditioning, we have it's a little bit quieter because we have glass windows and stuff like that, so it's a lot more comfortable over there. Not that it's uncomfortable here. I think it's lovely learning here in the main hall, but just understand that over there there's a lot of more comfort because your mind's going to be working a lot more to be able to learn. But that's part of what you would like to be able to do, is you need to cultivate wisdom. It's yes, meditation's important, but you need to cultivate wisdom. And if you're not understanding what true love is, which most likely you don't, then again you're going to have challenges in your relationship. So you'd like to get to the harmonious relationships where you can be loving and kind with everybody around you. But it takes time to be able to develop that, and the first step of that is to understand what is true love. So that's what I'm going to be teaching this evening. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be doing loving kindness meditation again together over in the classroom, and I'll open up to questions just like I did here. That's what we'll do over there. So whatever you guys choose to do today, have a very lovely and wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Sawadee Krap. Sawadee Krap.